Welcome back to Autism Live. I am here in the studio very excited with Justin and Zev from The Amazing Race. So thrilled to have you guys here. You were featured in 2 different episodes of The Amazing Race, so you have a huge fan base, I know. Let's start from the beginning. How did you guys meet?
How did we meet? We met at a place called Camp Greylock, which is a place that's very dear to our hearts. It's funny. Sorry.
We should address this.
Yeah, we should.
This is absolutely pretty funny. We shoot on a green screen.
Yes.
On the wall is green. And I had sent an email to Justin, but I am notorious for not CCing things and
Right, you didn't hit reply all.
I didn't hit reply all, and they make fun of me here because I forget to do it and didn't realize I did that to you. So you got the email, don't wear green.
And it turned out to be an amazing bit of comedy that you didn't even know it would be.
I did not know.
This is fantastic.
So this is my bad for not hitting reply all.
It's actually you're good.
Well, you guys are enjoying it, but that's why you're seeing Zev as a floating head. It's a magic trick.
And that's all Zev's going to be able to look at the entire time now.
That's all any of us are going to be able to look at. But in any case, back to camp. So how old were you when you met at this camp?
I was about 25. You were
like 22-ish.
Yeah. Okay, and so what kind of
counselors?
Camp? Okay, you were camp counselors.
And this is a camp that we both went to as campers, but I'm a little older than him.
Okay.
So I was friends with his cousin Greg, and we didn't know each other as campers. But when I was 25, I went back to be a counselor after a 9-year layoff, and he was there, and we ran the very prestigious football program there together.
Okay, together.
Yes.
Basically consisted of hanging out on a field and making kids run suicides and do monkey rolls.
Sounds absolutely abusive.
Yes.
It sounds like you had a good time.
I had a great time.
And you became friends.
We became pretty fast. I mean, I don't even remember the process of becoming friends. It just, for me, it just feels like, I remember people would tell me, they'd be like, because Zev showed up a little later than most of the counselors, because he tends to do that. And I remember people saying, you're going to love Zev, you guys are going to be friends, and yeah, whatever. And I just remember being friends. I mean, I don't remember, like, becoming friends. It was, like, a pretty natural thing, I think, right?
Is that how you remember it?
Yeah, more or less.
Now, so as you became friends, did you know, because Zev, you have an autism spectrum diagnosis, correct?
Correct.
And your actual diagnosis is Asperger's.
Correct.
We want to, because we just had a question that somebody was asking about Asperger's and autism and that we were just addressing a few minutes ago. So we'll say that. Did you know, did you disclose to him, did you tell him that you had a diagnosis? Did you?
I actually wear a shirt.
Yeah, he was wearing a shirt that's, no, he wasn't. I honestly, I don't even remember when I found that out. I don't know if you told, I don't know, how did I know?
I didn't tell you, I don't tell people that.
You don't ever?
I don't know how
It's not the thing that you, because that's not how you identify yourself.
Correct.
Okay. I totally can appreciate that. So,
I don't know, I don't remember how.
So you don't remember when it came up in conversation, but at some point you were friends and you just knew.
I have a feeling probably his cousin Greg would have told me at some point, but it definitely wasn't like an early, you know, it wasn't like, this is Zev, he has Asperger's.
Right.
It wasn't anything like that.
Okay.
It was just,
so, so you guys just had this friendship, and at some point, you know, it was just an organic thing. At some point you knew, but it didn't change anything between you.
No, definitely not.
It didn't set the tone for anything. It wasn't like you were like, oh, I'm going to be particularly patient or aware of. You were just friends.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Sounds right to me.
You know, and I didn't know much about it. You know, I mean, I've come to learn a lot about the spectrum and, you know, what that means in the aftermath of knowing Zev and you know, throughout, you know, our friendship, but I really wasn't aware of it. I didn't know anything about it. And I think actually, you know, the timing of it was about when people started to, or maybe I just became aware of it, but it seemed like that was a time when it started to be in the media, it started to be in the zeitgeist a lot more right around then. So, you know, I think it was a nice coincidence, and, you know, I learned a lot, but at the time, it didn't even mean anything to me.
Right.
I didn't even know what it meant.
I gotta say, there's something that's really wonderful about that it isn't this big discussion. You guys are just friends. And I think it's really important for people to, it's funny because I was talking about it this morning and saying, you know, is it remarkable that you guys are friends? I don't really think so. I think that there are a whole lot of people who are on the spectrum in lots of different ways who have really good friends, but we don't see it enough. We don't talk about it enough. I think that there are a lot of people who are out there who aren't aware of it.
Absolutely.
So for that, in that respect, I think, you know, it's wonderful that we're sitting here talking about it, but there's a little part of me that goes, well, you know, well, duh.
Right.
Of course you guys can have a great friendship. But so you said, Zeb, you don't disclose. You don't go up to people when you're starting friendships and say, oh, and by the way.
Correct.
But does it come up?
I don't think it comes up. Does it come up?
It comes up, I think, eventually. I mean, it mostly comes up now because people say, how'd you get on the race? And, you know, that was a pretty big reason.
You think so?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we knew going into it, he knew the race a lot better than I did, so he knew we needed an angle. And we were pretty sure that that was our angle, so we weren't shy about mentioning it in our application video and really playing it up, you know, and so now when we meet people, they say, how'd you guys get on the race? So that it comes up a lot then.
Okay.
You know, and I actually think, sorry, just to
go ahead.
I actually think you could, in general, maybe stand to, like when you're going to look for jobs and things like that, I wonder if maybe it's better for them to know that, you know, sometimes. And you don't mention it a lot of the time, and I feel like maybe, I don't know, it's something to think about.
Interesting for friends to talk about. Whose idea was it to go on The Amazing Race? Who had the idea first? It was your idea.
He had never seen the show.
So you knew you wanted to be on it, and you knew you were thinking through your Rolodex of friends and saying who would be good at this? Is that why you chose him, or was he?
No, my dad said.
His dad said no first. I
wanted to go with my dad, but he didn't want to hang out with me for 25 days. Says to go with Justin, you'll have a better time and a better chance of winning.
Interesting, interesting. And so when you asked him...
No White proved that. No? Okay, there you go.
So when you asked him, you know, you had to catch him up on what the show is about? He had no idea, or did he know a little bit?
No, I said, let's try to get on the show. He's like, all right, you find out when to apply and stuff, and...
It wasn't quite so quick, though. I mean, he started talking about this right away.
Really?
Like, it was on his mind, like, the minute we became friends, and then about 3.5, 4 years into this, he found out when the application deadline was, and I was thinking either we're going to get on this thing or he's going to stop asking me about it.
Okay.
So it's kind of a win-win. Because when he still gets his mind on something, you know, like a lot of people
He's
with
motivated.
Asperger's, he hones in on that thing.
Okay.
So,
but why? Why Amazing Race? I would think it would be
because I wanted to
overwhelming.
go on a scavenger hunt around the world.
Okay.
Because I love scavenger hunts.
And you know, I can relate to this because at one point when my husband and I were engaged, we loved the show, first of all. We just were really addicted to the show, and there was a discussion that we said, would we fill out the application? We even got so far as having the application, which is extensive, the application.
Yeah,
it's a long one.
And then we had a moment of sanity and realized that I, you know, get car sick on a stationary bicycle. I'm afraid of heights, you know, totally fearful of everything under the sun, and this was probably not the thing for us to do. Right? And I'm thinking, you know, you have said that there are some things socially that are a little bit troublesome for you, that are not your favorite thing to do. So did you just have this idea that you were going to get over it, or were you scared?
I don't know what it was. I think it was just the competition, like, oh, this is one of my dreams and I really want to go and try to do this. So
Wonderful.
I don't know.
You were willing to go through some of the harder things.
Correct.
It wasn't, I don't think you had a whole lot of doubt. You know, it wasn't like, there was never any, can I do this? You know, he was pretty clear that he could do it, and, you know, I knew he could do it, so it wasn't
So there was
really...
no doubt in your mind. You didn't think, wait a minute, there are going to be a whole lot of situations that are going to be outside of his comfort zone?
Well, if he did, and that happened, you would think it would be hilarious.
Okay, so that's where the friendship is.
It would be good TV, right?
Oh, wow, okay. Well, that's really brave of both of you. I kind of love it. So you applied, and you went through the process. At what point did it become clear to you that you were going to be on the show, and then did you have second thoughts?
Well, he didn't think because like 4 months went by, and we hadn't heard anything. But I was checking on the internet when they were getting down to the, oh, this is when we're saying everything. And then we got a phone call.
He didn't have a job at the time.
Okay.
And everybody in his life was saying, Zev, you got to look for a job. You got to look for a job. And he kept going, no, I'm going on The Amazing Race. We hadn't heard anything, and it had been 4 months. And at a certain point, it's like, Zev, you're crazy. This is not happening.
Right.
Sure enough, we get a call out of the blue. Her name was Noelle.
Her name is Noelle.
Her name still is Noelle. And I thought it was a joke at first and realized it wasn't.
And he's like, oh, did you put somebody up to call me?
Yeah. And then we got on the phone. We realized she was serious. Within about a week, we were sequestered and going through the process. And we just started seeing teams. Like, there were a lot of teams at first, and then we started seeing get thinner and thinner. And we started to realize, like, we have a pretty good shot at this thing. And it all happened really fast at that point.
Okay.
Next thing we knew, we were in a doctor's office, and it was happening, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the first season, you know, it's all new to you. You're experiencing it. One of the questions that people were asking me last night, you know, make sure you ask, is what kind of preparation do you do? What kind of preparation did the producers ask you to do to be ready to go on a scavenger hunt around the world?
They said learn how to drive stick shift.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
which we never really did.
We took a stick shift lesson one day.
We got lucky. We had 2 seasons where we never had to drive stick, and if we had, it would have been probably the end of us because I knew a little bit, but I didn't know enough, and he sure as hell didn't know how.
I don't.
And after the first season, when you had the break in between, you didn't bother to learn before you went back on the second time?
I think we tried.
We tried. We took a lesson. A friend of ours gave us a lesson.
I hope somebody videotaped that. I bet it was hilarious.
No, nobody videotaped. It was mostly me. It wasn't him. He went around the parking lot like halfway around. He's like, all right, I'm done with this.
Because I know you wouldn't let me drive.
Well, it might have been a roadblock, so it would have.
So then you would have done it.
It was probably not smart.
Okay.
We
Well, the
got
other
lucky.
question, which goes along with this.
By the way, I still love that he's a floating head, and we're having a serious discussion.
I know,
about this.
I know, it's hilarious, and it's all my bad or my good, depending on how you look at it.
Right.
Glass half full. But another friend wanted to know, how much did you decide beforehand about which kinds of tasks? Because you get a choice sometimes who is going to do the challenge. Did you guys decide ahead of time if it's anything to do with this or looks like it's to do with this that you'll do it, or you prepared beforehand?
Yeah, he would do the more physical stuff, and I would try to do the lucky ones. Where you just need a little.
Well, he actually, he knew the show better than I did.
Yeah.
Even though at that point I had caught up, but I basically deferred to him. I said, whatever you think with these things, with the detours and the roadblocks, it was kind of Zev's territory of deciding those things. And that's a big part of the race, is navigating those roadblocks, and he did a really good job with that.
Whose skill set. Now, on the show, it appears to us that you guys read the little riddle and that you don't have a whole lot of information when you make the decision. Is it like that in real life, or do you really know what it is? They say, well, you can either bail it or, whatever, and we don't really know what it is. Did you guys
know? It is like that, but you can kind of look around and see what people are doing.
Okay.
And then decipher there, but you're in a race, so you kind of want to go.
Right.
So makes it a little
I wasn't the best at
more
looking
panicky.
around.
Yeah. Sometimes we got it right away. Oh, you do this. Sometimes.
Right.
You take some time to think.
It took a minute or two.
Because you can't really switch once you start. Once somebody starts the task,
you can't switch. You got to take a penalty, right?
Right.
So sometimes you can see people, but he's right. A lot of times you just...
Like when we were doing the ducks, you saw, oh, look, they're just going around with the ducks.
Right, and we were both exhausted, and he actually didn't want to do the ducks. But then when I saw what it was, we said, you just do it. And it's a great thing he did, because
you became the duck
whisperer. The duck whisperer was born.
Did you have any idea that you would be that great with the ducks?
No.
And so now it's a big joke for you guys.
I'd still be there if I tried to do that.
Well, I probably would still be there too.
Yeah.
I need
Good
therapy.
one.
Yeah, thanks.
But so this is now an official designation. You are the duck whisperer. You guys have T-shirts.
We have T-shirts.
That say what?
The duck whisperer.
The duck whisperer.
A nice logo that we had made up.
Wonderful.
Yes, by Molly.
Our friend Molly.
How fun. So let's talk a little bit about the first season, because it was heartbreaking how it ended for you guys. I was watching, and of course, I can't tell you how much I was rooting for the two of you. And as that episode unfolded, I was up pacing around the couch, crying, yelling, and going, no. know. And
You're welcome.
And I wanted, I will tell you, as a parent of a child on the spectrum, I wanted a do-over. So I'm so glad when you guys got to go back on the show, but for people who don't watch The Amazing Race, tell them what happened.
Go ahead.
The look.
Well, what had happened was we were in Cambodia, and we were running.
That's a great start to any sentence,
that's a good start to any story,
okay.
Right? We were in Cambodia. We had just come off of this. We thought we were going to miss the flight that everybody was on. We got on the flight. We got off the flight first. We ran the whole leg first. It was the best leg yet. We won the leg. But at one point during the leg, we went to this monastery that, because of the way the clue read, it sounded like we had to go inside because it said, "Don't touch the monks on the head." So we figured, okay, we got to
be quiet
around the monks. So we went inside this monastery. It was pitch black in there. And I had our important documents in the fanny pack on my stomach. And one of the things that I had in there with the important documents and our money and our passport and all that stuff was this headlight in case we needed it. So it was dark in there. We needed the headlight. Couldn't see anything. So I pulled out this headlight. And then it turned out we didn't need to be in the temple at all. The whole event was outside, which we missed that. I missed that. I think I even saw it.
Right,
and I was like, but it can't be that because we got to go near the monks. Like, I even saw the whole thing. So we went outside. Zev had a little bit of trouble with the roadblock, but we got through it. We got to the finish line. We checked in, won motorcycles, and we were really excited. And then you're supposed to turn in all your clues at the end of every leg, and I went to look through the pouch, and I didn't have one of the passports, and I saw it, and I asked him if he had it, and we knew he didn't, but we started looking through everything. And right about that time, everybody else started checking in, and then the show caught wind of what was going on and brought us back out there, and the rest is history. So we got disqualified. It was brutal.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brutal, and I think that a lot of people watched, and just it just felt like injustice. You know, you guys had worked so hard, and I understand there are rules, but it was just heartbreaking.
It was.
Because you were doing so good, and we were rooting for you. We were rooting for both of you. But you were disqualified. You didn't get to continue on The Amazing Race that time. And then you were invited back. They had an entire season called Unfinished Business.
Yes.
And you guys made the decision to come back. I want to talk with you about that and what it's really like to be on the race, but let's take a little bit of a break and check and see if people, you can write in questions if you have them for Justin and Zev. So take a look. I think we're going to show the clip. You guys recently won an award from the Holly Rod Foundation.
Yeah.
And they did a lovely video that we are going to show. And we should point out that
Try not to cry this time.
Yes,
I'll try
not to get emotional.
I got a little weepy.
I heard that at the event it was a very emotional thing. We'll talk about that too. And we should mention that the footage is courtesy of CBS for The Amazing Race. So take a look, and we'll be back more with Justin and Zev after this.
Zev Glassenberg and Justin Canoe. Their unique friendship gained national attention when they first appeared on the hit reality show The Amazing Race in 2009, showing the world that no matter what obstacles we are faced with, you can overcome.
Justin is a great human being who looks out for people, and he's always been there for me, and he took me into his group of friends after we met at camp, and I'm very grateful.
On a show where teamwork, traveling the world, and constant social interaction with those around you are essential for success, they quickly won the hearts of America after learning that Zev Glassenberg was competing the entire race with a disorder called Asperger syndrome.
I'm freaking out. We're in a race, and I got frustrated. He was yelling in my ear, and I don't really do the best when people are yelling at me, telling me what to do. And then something started taking over my body. I kind of had a mini panic attack there.
Characterized as having significant difficulties in social interaction, AS is on the autism spectrum, and 1 in 88 people are diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum. Those suffering from the disorder often find even the simplest task overwhelming, change in daily routine terrifying, and the thought of making friends paralyzing.
In my head, I'm saying I don't like this isn't fun, but I'm sure looking back, like in the future, It's just something that had to be done.
Zev's fears were often pushed to the limit, but with the help and support of best friend Justin Canoe, they overcame insurmountable obstacles while becoming an inspiration to millions around the world. The unlikely friendship began at Camp Greylock in Beckett, Massachusetts. Their instant bond, almost 2 decades ago, has taught us valuable life lessons about the importance of friendship, treating everyone with respect, accepting people for who they are, and more importantly, tackling your greatest fears head on. Appearing on the show not once, but twice. 2 tremendous people in their own very different ways. This year's Holly Rod Champion Award, Zev Glassenberg and Justin Canoe.
We're just ready to put up with whatever gets thrown at us and, try to get as far as we can, and we're not going to complain.
Welcome back to Autism Live, and so a very emotional piece. We talked through it, so we didn't get all misty.
Oh, people just saw that?
Yeah, they
People
just saw that. That was our sort of our break, and they just saw that video.
Oh.
And we're back from break. We're here with Justin and Zev from The Amazing Race, and you won this award. It got a little emotional. I hear they showed that tape and had you come up, and it got a little emotional. What happened?
I didn't get emotional.
I love how you always look at him, this slow look that you give him.
I'm waiting to see if he wants to jump in or if...
This was your...
yeah, well, first of all, Holly and Rodney and the Holly Rod for Kids Foundation, which is a great cause, and they're great people, and the world needs more Petes.
And by the way, they say the same thing about you guys.
Yeah, they're kind, but they're great. They're the best, and her people kind of called us and said that she wanted to do this, and Rodney wanted to do this, and we were humbled and thrilled, and they had a great event in Malibu, and there were a lot of cool people there and cool.
You got to hobnob, rub elbows.
We got to hobnob a little. Paul Abdul, Arsenio Hall.
Arsenio.
Who else? Brian Grant.
Byron Allen.
A lot of cool people.
Okay.
They played this.
Bob Johnson.
They played this video that we knew they were going to play a video, but and we sent them some footage to help them. But it was.
I'll go through the whole list.
What we sent was, you probably could. What we sent was more like of our comedic moments, and they turned it into like a really emotional, cool video that you just saw, I guess. I about halfway through started to get choked up, and then they called us up after it was over to take the award, and I had the waterworks going a little bit, and I was trying to fight it back, and I figured they'd give the mic to Zev, and he'd at least give me a second to catch my breath, and he just went, boop.
No, because they had 2 mics.
I didn't even know that. So I had, a few things prepared, but I just kind of stumbled through a story about, the video was about how Zev and our friendship had inspired people, and we have this story that we tell quite a bit. The Sokol family in Chicago. The mother's named Susie, the son's named Brett. He was 12 years old when we went on the race for the first time, and Susie essentially told us that because Brett responded so well to Zev, she took the opportunity to tell him that he had what Zev had, and that he didn't know that until then, and that now it all clicked for him, and he was almost excited about it. And,
right. Life-changing.
Life-changing moment for him because of this guy. And so I told that story through some serious, heavy waterworks, and then Zev brought up his family and our friends who were there with us that night, and it was just a nice moment. And so, yeah, that happened, and we have Holly and Rodney to thank. Yeah.
It's kind of cool that you guys are just living your lives and having your friendship and conducting business as you conduct business, and that has the ability to change people's lives for the better. That doing what you're doing and just living the life that you're leading, that you're an inspiration, both of you, has got to be pretty interesting stuff. But you guys are an inspiration to a lot of people.
It's been,
thanks.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think it's been great for you, right?
Oh, real great.
And has it not been great for you?
No, it's been great. It's been great. When we made our application video, we sort of put in there Zev saying that he wanted to inspire people, and that was something that would get us on the race. And, it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, like we weren't sure if that would actually happen, but sure enough, you know, it really did happen.
Right.
And we've met a lot of amazing people, and like you said, it's just us existing that's doing this. You know, we haven't really had to do anything amazing other than just be friends with each other, and I think it's a nice thing that, you know, that's actually having some impact on people.
Yeah,
So.
your story is great. We had a question from somebody who wrote in and said, were your families supportive of your decision to go on The Amazing Race? What did both sides, what did they say?
Yes.
Well, because your dad said,
That
don't
is not
go
a
with
dumb
me,
question. Why are you
My
treating that like
family
it's a
was
dumb question?
supportive of me trying to go and win $1 million and going and living one of my dreams.
Well, your mom was probably a little scared about it because she.
But she
tends
was
to have
still
that.
supportive.
Okay.
Yeah. And for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So nobody thought it was crazy?
No, nobody thought it was crazy. I mean, my mom's an adventurer, and you know, my dad is at heart too, and so they were into it right away for sure. Everybody was.
So you got disqualified off of season 15, and you come home and your life is different, and you had a certain amount of celebrity that came with this. How different were things after the first race?
I got recognized on the street.
Was that weird or was it fun?
It was fun.
Yeah. And for you, do you get recognized?
I get it more when I'm with him because I'm just sort of his caddy. But when we're together, I get it a lot. When I'm by myself, not so much. I feel like he gets it more on his own.
And but you know, was there a disappointment because you got disqualified? Did you feel like you had unfinished business? Was there a hope to go back on again from minute one?
Yeah, we were thinking when we were actually sitting there in Cambodia waiting for them to disqualify us for about an hour and a half, and we were just thinking, oh, it's about time they do another all-star type season, so let's behave ourselves.
Okay.
And
let's not lash out and go crazy about this. So we behaved ourselves.
And took it on the chin. Yeah. And lo and behold.
I mean, it was probably the thing that we talked about the most after that happened. We were in Cambodia for a while after everybody left and talking about it, and talked about it every once in a while throughout that entire year afterward. And then, sure enough, we got that call, and it wasn't a question. I mean, it wasn't like, do we want to go back?
But the good thing about being disqualified was we got got 2 weeks vacation, and we got to meet some really, really great people and hang out with them.
In Cambodia.
Yeah, the other
Vietnam,
disqualified, the other eliminated contestants, and I don't know if I would change that experience.
Right, that was great.
So
it's called
if
Elimination Station.
So does everybody get it, or you guys just got it because
the first 6 teams that get eliminated go and get a vacation, and then get brought back to the finish line at the end, and they just get to hang out all day and.
Wow.
They don't want people
That's kind of their consolation.
Right. Oh, I see. That makes a certain amount of sense.
So we had
because if you came home, then people would start to talk. Well, obviously,
yeah.
So we had about 2 weeks in Vietnam at this just pool, eating tiger prawns and drinking Blue Lagoons with a great group of people that we're still really close with. So
yeah.
Okay, that was another question that I wanted to know about. Like, you know, so. It's adversarial. You're on this race and you're trying to beat out other teams, and you make some friendships seemingly. Is it real, and do you stay friends with the people afterward?
Yeah.
So you're still in contact with some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to a wedding next weekend. One of the teams is Chris and Amanda are getting married next weekend.
From the second season.
From the second season.
Wow.
And yeah, we're friends with a lot of the people from the race. You develop this rhythm where, you know, you're racing and you're enemies, and then when there's downtime, which is a lot of downtime on the race, you bond. So, you know, you're spending time in airports, you're sleeping on sidewalks, and it's kind of like being in war with each other and against each other. But you go through this thing and you bond for sure.
You're in the foxhole together.
You're in the foxhole, no doubt.
Okay, more questions. You did the amazing race and achieved this goal. What is next for you? Any new goals or dreams?
Justin?
Yeah. What's next for us?
My next goal is to be an actor.
Right, Zev's acting. We just made a movie in Puerto Rico together.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It's called Welcome to the Jungle.
And when can we, and where can we see this?
We're about 3 weeks away from finishing it for good, and then we're going to start shopping it, taking it to festivals and things like that. So probably next year sometime, I would imagine.
Okay, will you let us know? Because we'd love to do some stuff in here about it.
And I shot some stuff for Enlighten, which is written and created by Mike White, who was on
the race.
Okay, wonderful. And so we should mention you're an actor and you are in the filmmaking industry.
Yeah, I'm more of a producer type.
Okay, but it's a good, you know, a
combo.
Good
symbiotic-
combo.
Good combo.
Yes, it is a good combo.
Up top.
In a lot of different ways.
Did they see that?
Yeah.
Oh, they just see
Here,
my...
down here, down
Just
here.
in your floating head.
Perfect.
If you're just joining us, we shoot on a green screen, and I did not tell Zev that because I didn't reply all.
Perfect.
It's perfect. It's the way my week is going.
The other thing is we've been talking about maybe doing some other stuff with autism, with our friends at Autism Speak. So we'll let you know if any of that comes
Absolutely,
through.
let us know. And you guys have a great blog. You've got a website. You've got a fan page on, well, I call it a blog. It's like a video blog. You have a site.
it's great.
ZevandJustin.com.
It's updated a lot.
Yeah, not as much as it should.
Well,
we tweet a lot too.
That's great. And I was watching last
You
night.
tweet a lot.
Well, I do tweet a lot.
There you go. I was watching last night and watched the video about you making a car.
Yeah.
Because you guys won focus. Even you.
Right.
How do you say it? Two Ford Focuses on the show, and you got to customize and pick out what you wanted, and you shot video of it, and it's, I can say, fully hilarious.
Thank you.
It's deeply enjoyable to watch you pick out the car.
Most things this man does are fully hilarious.
Fully hilarious. And you have a wonderful sense of humor, which
Thank
I
you.
absolutely love. So people can check that out if they go to, tell them the site again.
Well, ZevandJustin.com is where those videos live, and we're on Twitter. He's at Zev Glassenberg, and I'm at Justin_Canoe. So we tweet those things every once in a while.
Okay, awesome. We had another question that they want you to tell us about your experience in San Francisco with your friends. Is this a loaded question?
I wonder who's that from.
I don't know.
San Francisco.
Yeah, we definitely went to San Francisco. Well, we've been
you don't
twice
have to
together.
answer it if you
no,
don't
we
want
can't.
to.
Well, once we did the trapeze with Garrett and everybody.
Yeah,
Well, you acting like you don't remember that.
I do.
So we did that. We went with friends once, and then another time we went up and spoke at a function up there.
Yes.
So
Okay, so we don't necessarily know what you guys are talking about. And we have somebody who's written in and said that the green screen is erasing most of you, except for your glasses. Want to remind everybody, if you're just tuning in, that we shoot on a green screen, and it's my fault. I did not. I did not hit reply all. I'm famous for that in this building, that I do not hit reply all. I replied to an email from you and let you know.
I did my
I
part.
said, by the way, don't wear green because we shoot on a green screen. But I did not hit reply all, so Zev did not get the message.
And
so,
I, for one, am very happy about
and
it.
we're enjoying the fact, Zev and Justin are both enjoying the fact that he is an amazing floating head on our screen.
I think you should be a floating head at all times.
Like the Pee Wee Herman person in the
Or
box.
like Detective Head from In Living Color. Anyway.
In any case, I
see
love
your
it.
little
No.
feet.
So you went on the race the second time, and it was called Unfinished Business. You felt like you had unfinished business. Was your intention that you were going to win?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
I mean, I don't know that it, I guess it is kind of a silly question, but I think some people are there. I think people go on those shows for lots of different reasons.
Sure.
And if you know that only one person is going to win, I think there are lots of motivations. So the motivation was the money
Well, yeah.
and the fun.
And to get to really run the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the second time around, pretty much everybody that was there had kind of gotten over the glow of being on the race, and
Right.
everybody was there to get after it
Get
the
down to
second time.
business.
So,
Yeah.
you know, including us. And we had been knocked out earlier than most of the teams that were there. So we figured because of that and, you know, because of the Asperger's, frankly, we would be underestimated a little bit again. And so, you know, we wanted to, we felt like we could win it. We
You were
did.
using that to your advantage. that
Definitely.
You were
At all times.
underestimated.
At all times.
At all
Okay.
times.
Okay. So, and you came in fourth. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pretty amazing on the Amazing Race because there's so many different factors. Are you disappointed? Do you feel like you still have unfinished business?
We will always feel like we have unfinished
Yeah.
business until we win that thing. Yeah, we definitely do. I mean, we were cruising. We won 4 legs. We won cars. We won 3 trips. And even on that last leg, we were about 45 minutes to an hour ahead of the second team in Brazil. I don't know if you remember that, but
Oh,
yeah,
I remember.
I know you remember. I remember.
I think he was referring to me because I have space brain, so I
Yeah.
don't remember little details. But tell us. What happened? How did you
We
fall behind?
got to a dancing thing, and it was my turn to do the roadblock because he had finished all 5 of his.
I do.
And it was a
remember that.
dancing thing, and I can't dance. And
We knew we were in trouble when we saw it was a dancing thing.
yeah.
So he had to learn. He had to learn this little like samba dance, and then lead a little parade around a square in Brazil, dressed in an amazing little costume, and it was just tough. I mean, he just doesn't have any rhythm. I don't know if that's a thing on this with people on the spectrum. I feel like it probably is.
Coordination is actually a part of the diagnosis.
Right.
So to varying different degrees,
Right.
you know, but it's part of the diagnosis.
Right.
So, you know.
And I think we knew that a little bit, and you know, while that's happening, and he keeps getting the no from the judge, you know, I definitely was getting emotional and
Rough.
kind of calling attention to that part of things, and saying he's got Asperger's, you know, it's kind of part of it, but we got stuck there, and so a bunch of teams passed us, and then after that we
got a little lost.
We got a little lost after that, and then we ended up finding our way to this Brazilian wax place, which was also its own kind of horror because we're pretty hairy guys under this. I mean, you can't tell because he's a floating head, but he's a hairball, and so am I. And so all the other teams were pretty hairless teams, and then we get there, and it's our Kelly Clarkson moment. And so it was just injury to insult, as I think we said, and that was the end of us.
What I really remember, and I don't remember whether it was from the first time or the second time, there was a moment when you were in a challenge and you were down on the ground and you were standing there and saying, I know you can do this.
That was the first.
That was the first season.
That was in Cambodia.
And you were saying, this is really hard. And you were saying, but I know that you can do this. I know you can. And even now I get choked up thinking about it because I think we all want to have a cheerleader like that in our lives. Because we've all reached a moment in our lives where something was really hard. And I think a lot of people stop when something is hard. And you were at that moment, but you stepped in and said, but I know you can do this. I'm welling up thinking about it. Is that something that happens in your relationship at all on a regular basis, that there are tough moments and you say, yep, no, you can do this, or was this a moment at a time?
This was probably a moment at a time.
Be gentle. Be gentle.
This was a moment at a time.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. You know, I mean, I'd like to think I'm encouraging. You encourage
are, but
me,
not
I encourage
every 5 seconds.
No, not every 5 seconds.
Well, do you have opportunity to do that for him as a friend? Have there been things that have been hard for him that you've said, look, I know you can do this?
Yes, I do, and he doesn't listen to me.
That's true
not
friendship.
true.
There we go. Another person wants to know, did you feel like anyone treated you strangely on The Amazing Race because of your diagnosis? I need to put this up there.
I don't think they really knew until, like...
Oh, they knew. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think so.
Yeah, people were very, you know...
Because, you
people
know,
were
I
very
would talk to
open-minded.
them and stuff, and my personality comes out. They're like, oh, he's
Yes.
He's
cool
that.
guy.
Oh,
He's that.
okay.
Yeah.
No, it's true, and also I think in general, you know, racers are pretty open-minded people. They're out there. They know they're going to meet a lot of different people, and so yeah, there was no bad reactions at all. I think everybody
From the other
really
racers,
embraced that.
from the people that you met when you went to different countries, was there any time that you felt like you weren't getting the same kind of treatment for either of you?
No, because we just
I
didn't
love hearing
spend
that.
enough time with anybody.
You were running by people. They didn't
Yeah.
have time
And
to hear
if
you.
that was the case, they didn't speak English.
Right.
Okay. All right. Great. Another one.
Although you did have the Captain Obvious moment.
Well, shoot,
That was funny.
What's the Captain Obvious moment? I don't
He
remember.
was filling up a chocolate gnome with chocolate, and she said, "It's getting heavy because I'm filling it up with chocolate." And he goes, "Thanks, Captain Obvious." It was a very Zev line.
Another person wants to know, have you considered mentoring younger people on the spectrum? And I imagine this is for both of you.
I have not considered that.
I think you did go and talk at a school once.
I did talk at the help group once.
And and we talked we went to a high school and did a little program for Autism Speaks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're sort of here and we're at the community service, so we're trying to do as much as we can, and talking to you, talking to Autism Speaks, talking to Holly, definitely we're open to anything. So, you know, if there's any teachers out there, that kind of thing, that, you know, would want us to come in or hire Zev as a teacher's assistant, we're here.
There you go. Okay.
Thanks, man.
It's a lot of questions here. Another question: did you feel that, and this is the question, I'm going to read it as written. Did you feel that your disability helped you to get on the show? I don't know. How do you feel about the word disability? I sort of have a reaction to that because I think differently abled, not disabled. You're very capable, but do you feel like the disorder, the diagnosis, helped you to get on the show?
I don't think it hurt.
Right.
I mean, I think 100% it did. You know, I mean, maybe our dynamic is interesting enough that, you know, if we hadn't told them, they would have said these guys are funny and friends, but I believe that, you know, the Asperger's of it all was, if not the first nail.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, you know, I'll say it, like, we're in our video, you know, our application video started with the black screen and then Asperger syndrome and then, you know, high function, you know.
So you went there.
Oh, we went there. Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, and it was like, come on, Zev, you know, like inspire people and all that stuff, you know. So So we definitely played that up. I mean, we knew that was our angle. You know?
Yeah.
But do you feel like your diagnosis is a disability?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, yes.
Zev, you are an inspiration.
That was good.
That was wonderful. We talked during the break, and I said, Zev, have you ever considered going into stand-up comedy? And he said, considered it, but don't. I think that definitely seals it that you should. That was some incredible timing.
Oh, that was good.
Okay, another question here. Have you thought about doing motivational speaking at schools? And it sounds like you guys already have.
We have. Probably not enough. We're here.
What would you, if you had a message, mostly we have parents, but some teachers and some practitioners who watch, if you were going to talk to parents who have teenagers and young adults that are on the spectrum, is there any advice that you would want to give to them that you wish people had known when you were in those years, or that you think it's important that they know?
Nope.
No.
So you just got to keep pushing through it, and it's going to be a struggle, but it'll be okay in the end.
Okay. Great thing to know.
My floating head would say. Yes,
as your floating head would say. And for you, you know, in terms of this journey that you've been on with him, any advice that you would give to us in terms of having a long-term friendship, what we should be doing? What do you think the secret to your success is?
Man, you know, I would say that, if anything, it's just that you certainly can. You know, I mean, I don't want to say, like, I mean, am I patient with him sometimes? Sure. Is he patient with me sometimes? Definitely. So, you know, I always say, like, people look at it sometimes as like, oh, I'm a nice guy for being friends with this guy, but, you know, I don't look at it that way at all. I mean, I definitely get just as much, if not more, out of this relationship as he does. So if our message is anything, it's that it exists. You know, this friendship is very real, and so others out there should and probably are like that, should be and probably are like that also. You know?
I think we talk about acceptance all the time, but I don't know that there's enough of a face on it of what acceptance looks like. But what I clearly see in this friendship is that you see who he is and you accept him for who he is, and you see him for who he is and you accept him for who he is, and you both like what you see.
Thanks, floating head.
Don't touch me.
There you go. So, you know, if given the opportunity, you would run the race again.
Oh yeah, Lynn, Bertram, we're here. We're ready. Phil,
Elise.
Any thought of doing any other kind of reality show?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I mentioned my brother to you earlier. He works in the branded entertainment world, and we've talked about, I mean, we've been making these little videos. You saw the car one. We did a rodeo one where we went and saw our buddy Cord McCoy ride bulls. We did another one with Zev just wandering around Venice. So, I mean, I feel like this guy should be on camera, you know, somewhere. So we've been putting a reel together that we're starting to pitch now too.
Okay, great. I mean, I would love to see you guys have your own show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's kind of you.
Well, I would watch it. I would tune in, and I'm sure that many of our viewers would tune in. It's so nice to meet you guys. I've been a fan for a while. I really appreciate everything that you did. I know for you guys it was just living your lives and doing what you do and having a good time, but it did have an impact. Clearly you see that for a lot of us. So thank you for keeping it on. Please come back whenever you want, whenever you have something to show and that you want people to know about. Tell them again where they can find, what's the name of your Facebook page?
The Facebook is just Justin Canoe, Zev Glassenberg, and then also
don't we have a
Zev and Justin.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a one together.
Zev and Justin is the one together. We have zevandjustin.com that will be better about updating. Hopefully, we'll put this on there and all that stuff. And then our Twitter is where you can interact with us the most. We're pretty active on there. So
I don't know.
Zev, he's funny on there though.
I'm trying to get into the Twitter thing. I'm not as good, so I can relate. But you're Twitter.
I'm a bit of a Twitter addict, evangelist, all that stuff.
It's a good thing. It's a great way to communicate.